So, you guys have seen me cut up a lot of fish, but I wanted to do a quick instructional on exactly how to fillet a fish. And a yellowtail is a very good fish for an example. So it helps if you know some of the anatomy of the fish, like where the dorsal fin is, the pectoral, I believe, gills, stomach, butt, tail. So they're all very similar. So if you follow this methodology for any fish, you'll do just fine. If you've never done it before, it won't come out like this the first time, and that's okay, because the more you do it, the better you get. So first, take your finger, feel where hard becomes soft. That's the flesh. You want to take the knife and go as close to the hard portion as possible. Then come down around the pectoral fin. Don't puncture all the way through into the stomach, you'll make a mess, unless the fish is gutted. Now, this portion is my personal choice. This is how I do it, and I think it's by far the best way. So some guys will slice down here, which we're going to do in a moment, but first, if you take the tip of the knife, stick it in right under the skin there, make an incision, and then follow the top of the dorsal fin indentation back with the tip of a sharp knife, and then when you get down to the tail, push it through. And what you've done is you've created a very nice guideline for yourself to fillet the rest of the fish properly. So I put a little pressure down, take the knife, and you want some pressure down onto the skeleton of the fish. Like this, run the knife. Now I've started what is a very good fillet job. So you take your thumb, add some tension, pull on the fillet, and gently, if it's your first time, don't try to go whole hog and slice the whole thing off. Just pull it up very gently with a sharp knife. Just basically tickle the intersection between the bones and the flesh, and you're going to start to pull away the flesh from the bones perfectly, like this. Okay? Then you're going to need to work the top here to give yourself a little more slack in the meat. Continue to pull. And then at some point, if you're doing this well, you're going to encounter the spine. When you encounter the spine, it's very simple. Get to the top of it, go over the side, and then push down, just as you were before, maintaining solid pressure down on the back of the skeleton. And that way you'll be able to ridge over the spine just like so, without peeling up the flesh. Okay, so you've noticed I've avoided this top left quadrant. That's because there's a line of bones in pretty much every fish that runs down the middle to about here, and then you have the ribs and the stomach. So this is sashimi. When you're doing sashimi, if you're very meticulous, you'll almost never get sick unless the fish has some kind of parasite that's in other parts of the flesh. Almost all parasites reside in the stomach. So take the knife, slice gently through that first backbone there, and you see I'm going on top of the ribs. So all of the stomach contents are packed inside this cavity right here. All the stomach contents are in there, and I'm avoiding it so I can keep the fillet pristine, okay, without contaminating it possibly. And you're going to turn the fish over, and you're going to do the same thing. I do it backwards because just over the years I've realized that this works best for me. So you go down side, same way, going down by the dorsal fin, through the tail, and then this is kind of I'm sure this is an unorthodox way, but then instead of trying to turn the fish around and then aiming at it like this, I just do what's most convenient and start in the middle of the fillet instead of having to start at the top. And when I do that, I save a lot more of the flesh. And to be honest, if you're going to do a lot of fishing, or you're going to be purchasing a lot of fish for that matter, and then filleting them, out of respect for the fish's life, you should learn to do this in a way that preserves the most amount of flesh possible, because at the end of the day, the fish's life was given for you to eat it, and unless you're going to also prepare the bones separately, you should do it the best you can. Over the ribs, down. I'm gonna peel it off. And so that is a way to fillet a fish without encountering the stomach cavity at all. And it's probably the best way to fillet a fish. So when you get a little faster, you can go like this. This is like an average fish for me, an average fish time. I'm not rushing. I'm gonna be careful because, again, this is sashimi and I want to do it properly and respect the fish. Okay. Now for the final portion of the fillet, skinning and deboning. I'm going to take a piece, get the angle right. Alright, so most important is the angle of the knife. You want it not straight down as if I were going to cut it, and not flat, like in the middle. I use my fingernails, even through the glove, lock down the fillet, make a small cut, and then start to push. It's easier on the edge of the table. Start to slice and push the knife away gently. Everything requires a sharp knife. So if the knife is sharp, you can be very gentle. I mean, I'm like barely pushing. Just like you would slice through a bite of steak. Same pressure. You're not trying to kill it. Okay? And that's how that should look. It should come up from the fillet. Just like that. And you can lay the fillet down. Those bones I talked about earlier, we eliminated most of them. Right down the middle. This is simple. All fish vary a little bit, but use your finger. I can feel bones down to there. So take my finger, get them out. This one there. Pick it up, slice it, and that's a boneless, skinless yellowtail fillet that's very fresh. It's going to be delicious.